Hello everyone. So this here is a classic Cootie-Catcher Fortuneteller. I played with these when I was a kid, but I was always vaguely dissatisfied, and I couldn't quite put a finger on why until I was a parent making them for my own kids. And then I saw the problem. See, when you want to tell a fortune, it usually goes something like this. Pick a color. Blue. Okay, B-L-U-E. Now pick a number. 6. At this point, you can either go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or alternatively, you could spell out 6, S-I-X. Doesn't really matter, although it will get you to a final result that's different. But now you need to choose one more number, so 3. Okay, so now we can open the 3 to reveal your future career as a dog catcher. Now, here's what's disappointing about this. The player chooses from 4 different colors and 4 different numbers. That gives you 16 different possibilities, and yet the typical cootie catcher only has 8 different outcomes, such as professions, 1 under each number. But we're not even done yet, because you still have to choose one more number, and at that point there are 64 different possible sequences, but still only 8 different outcomes. Clearly, a lot of information is just being thrown away here. It's just not a very efficient fortune teller. I believe we can do better. It's time to give an age-old childhood tradition an upgrade. So after some experimentation, I came up with this, the ultimate Cootie-Catcher fortune teller. It works like this. Pick a color. Blue. Okay, B-L-U-E. Now, choose from one of the 4 elements, fire, wind, earth, or water. Okay, water, W-A-T-E-R. Now, we know that you chose blue. We also know that you chose water, so we're going to flip this over. Note that water is the lower of the 2 elements. So we turn this over, and we find your future career is sanitation engineer. All right. Now, the great thing about this approach is that the 4 colors and 4 elements generate 16 different sequences, leading to 16 different career outcomes. No loss of information. This is an efficient fortune teller. But how can you make your own ultimate Cootie-Catcher fortune teller? Here's how. You start with a standard Cootie-Catcher without the markings. I assume you know how to make one already, but if you don't, just Google Cootie-Catcher and you'll find a multitude of guides. Next, you need to put 4 colors on the corners. You could pick different colors from mine, but they must meet this criterion. 2 colors must have an even number of letters, in this case, blue and purple. And the other 2 colors must have an odd number of letters in them, in this case, red and green. Furthermore, when you put them on your catcher, you can't just put them anywhere. You need to have your even colors adjacent to each other, like blue and purple here, and also your odd colors adjacent to each other, like red and green here. Next, you need to open it up and put colors on the inside corners, like so. For each outside color triangle, you'll have 2 inside triangles. For blue and the opposite color, green, you'll have 2 of the same color. So blue gets 2 blues, and green gets 2 greens. For the other 2 colors, purple and red, you're going to have 1 of each. So for purple, you get a red and a purple, and for red, you're going to get a purple and a red. Notice that I have the purples lined up here on one side, and the reds lined up here on the other side. Now, the next step is to draw in the symbols for the 4 elements. So what you need to do is open it up with your small blue and purple triangles pointing up like so. And then you'll draw in the 4 elements from top to bottom: fire, wind, earth, and water. Then rotate to put red and green on the top, and draw the same symbols again from top to bottom: fire, wind, earth, and water. And it's important for the symbols to be placed in exactly this order, so don't mix them up. Now, you might be saying to yourself, wait a minute, I've never heard of wind being an element. Isn't it supposed to be air? But to make this work, we needed two elements with an even number of letters in their names. So I changed air to wind, 3 letters to 4 letters. And I feel this choice is justified by the existence of the 70s band Earth, Wind, and Fire. Don't ask me why they left out the water. However, if you're not a fan of the classical elements, you could choose some other iconic foursomes, such as war, famine, plague, and death, also known as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The crucial part is picking a foursome in which 2 words have an even number of letters and the other 2 have an odd number of letters. And that could require you to change a word. For instance, John, Paul, George, and Ringo would not work, but John, Paul, Jorge, and Ringo would work. By the way, if you wanted, you could swap out the colors for something else as well. For instance, you could do a 4 Beatles of the Apocalypse version. Okay, now the last step is to write in 16 careers. And these could be anything you want, but to make it fun, I recommend making 8 of them exciting or high-status professions, such as actor and lawyer, and the other 8 mundane or actively unpleasant professions, such as tax collector and funeral director. Or you could do predictions about something other than professions, such as what celebrity you'll marry. But the same principle applies. 8 aspirational, 8 repulsive. Or you could just do like me and make them all terrible. Now, when you write them in, you'll need to put 4 under each flap, 1 in each quadrant, like so. The top careers correspond to the top element, in this case, Earth. The bottom careers correspond to the bottom element, in this case, water. And of course, the careers on the left correspond to the left color, in this case, blue, and the careers on the right correspond to the right color, in this case, purple. Finally, if you'd rather not reveal 4 professions every time you lift a flap, you can snip right along this line here and do it on all 4 of these flaps, and that way you'll have 8 smaller flaps, and each one you can flip up to reveal just 2 professions instead of 4. And now it's finished. But to use it, you'll need to tell your fortunes in a very specific way. You must always open with your blue and purple kept together and your red and green kept together when you start. Don't start this way, and then shift as you go back and forth. If you do it the other way, starting by going this way instead of this way, the whole thing will fall apart and you'll look foolish. If you don't believe me, try it and see what happens. And that's it. This is probably the only YouTube video I'll ever do, so I'm not going to ask you to subscribe to my channel or anything like that. But I do believe the world needs to know that there is a better way to make a Cootie-Catcher Fortuneteller. So please share this video with everyone you know and a whole bunch of people you don't. Thanks for watching.